It appears that we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Hangout. First of all, thank you all for subscribing. I just reached 300 subscribers. So yeah, you guys are awesome. Please continue upvoting my stuff and check out my channel. With me today, I have a guy called Truth Seeker who appeared various times in the channels in the Hangouts of Nathan Oakley, and who I want to talk with about some flat Earth related stuff. So hello, Truth Seeker.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Sure, no problem. So one of the things that I'd like to talk to you about is a few days ago when you were in Nathan Oakley's channel, you guys were talking about exposure times of photographs that were made on the lunar surface, right?
Briefly, yeah. We were kind of connecting it with how a lot of shots, will show all the other light on the surface and none of the light of the sky. Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, all right. So the usual explanation that is given, and I'm pretty sure that you've heard that one, is that the reason that stars can't be seen or are not seen on the photos that were made on the lunar surface is because the exposure time is not set correctly to see those stars. Do you understand why that is the case?
I understand why that's a valid explanation. I'm having my doubts that is the case.
All right. What doubts do you have?
Well, there's no, I can understand why on the surface of Earth that'd be an issue. We have a medium, the ether to, interfere and refract light. But
you mean the atmosphere? Ether isn't really a thing.
So basically, I went to the globe model for answers on this, and the globe model people say that stars are visible, at all times, no matter dark or light side. Doesn't matter if the sun's directly above you. The star light is visible at all times. So I kind of started with that.
Oh, I just get a message from the chat that your volume is a little low. I'll just try to correct that. Make you a little bit louder. All right, so let's try it this way. I could hear that? Yeah, I could hear you perfectly. That's no problem, but I don't get any feedback, any direct feedback from the YouTube page. I have to rely on my subscribers, at least right now. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You know that we don't have an atmosphere on the surface of the moon, right?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
All right. So that means that the starlight that is reaching the lunar surface or the camera sensors is not hindered by anything, okay? Now, you know that exposure is a thing. On the lunar surface, the astronauts that were over there had to expose or open the camera in such a way that the exposure would be sufficient for the objects that they were filming, like the landscape and each other and the spacecraft, so and so, but not to have those objects overexposed, right?
Yeah, no, I get the general premise of that. There are some good questions, them taking pictures on the moon. Like, I think it's a famous shot of supposed Neil Armstrong, where he was supposedly the only one on the surface, yet there's a center frame shot of him standing. It's like, who took that shot?
I think the other astronaut took it. How was it called? Buzz Aldrin? It might actually have been the other way around. I think the photo that you're referring to was of Buzz Aldrin, and it was made by Neil Armstrong.
No, I'm pretty sure the photo I'm referring to was when only one astronaut was on the surface, but there's a perfect center frame shot of him. It's just, it's kind of looks Hollywood-esque.
I'm not aware of that. So So you actually understand that if you expose the camera correctly for objects in your frame,
what I understand is the camera evidence is about the weakest evidence, and I wasn't even talking about the really camera evidence, on Nathan's. I was kind of using it in full context to tie in some other points. I don't think the camera exposure evidence, I think that's a rather weak contention, and I don't think that's actually something really good to focus on.
Well, it's usually the argument made by flat earthers that the photos that were taken on the lunar surface don't show any stars.
Since this is my first time on, your audience doesn't know me. Let's just get something clear. I'm not a flat earther. I don't claim that the Earth is flat. I've never seen the entirety of it. I don't know the shape of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a mistake of me. I'm sorry. I'm not talking about flat earthers. I'm talking about people who think that the moon landings were fake in some sorts. That's my fake. Not my fake. Okay. My fault. Sorry.
No, that's no problem. So, yeah, I don't think the Earth is flat.
Okay, so are you actually one of those guys who think that NASA faked the moon landings?
Oh yeah, the more that I look into it, yeah, it's clear, from the missing telemetry data to how they admit they can't escape low Earth orbit to how every image has turned out to be CGI or composites. Yeah, it looks like a wing of like the CIA or Hollywood.
So can you give me an example of maybe your best argument why you think that is the case? If you
No,
had one argument
yeah,
which you would have to
I
bet
think
your reputation on.
the blue marble photos, when you actually just line up all 6 or 8 of them, however much they've been spoon feeding us, and you actually just look at all 6, and then you go take like a look at Arasa's, or Russia's, blue marbles. None of the blue marbles look the same. They all look like artist renderings, and the size of continents nearly double in size in some of them.
Well, in this case, I know exactly which ones you're talking about. If you actually trace the sources of them, as you said there's a compilation of various pictures of the planet that is usually shown by flat earthers with content that in every one the color is slightly different, the continent sizes look a bit different, and so on and so forth. If you actually trace back the sources, you will find out that only the first of those 8 pictures is really a picture. The other ones are composites. So
yeah, I actually did look that up. Yeah, the first one is it's like from 76 or 67 or one of those years. And I've seen Matt Powerland's videos where he's convinced that that's a painting.
yeah, but it's hard to determine that, isn't it?
No, but since I've looked into that, that image is indistinguishable from a high detail painting. It's indistinguishable. That's why I think the photo evidence is some of the weakest evidence to go off of.
Right, but you were the one who who brought up that evidence, right?
Yeah, I brought it up, but not like literally minorly, and I was just trying to connect it to full context to other compositry and to camera tricks that they use with wide-angle lenses. I was just kind of showing that there's a lot of deception going on here.
All right, I'd like to ask you the same question again. If there would be one argument on which you would have to bet your reputation as conspiracy theorist, what do you think would be the best argument that you think you would have?
For what claim?
For the claim that NASA faked the moon landings or space in general in some way, or at least the space missions.
There is no, that's what's so crazy, and this is very high level thinking. You kind of can't just hang your hat on one point. That's why I kind of was bringing this up in Nathan's chat, that many of the globe defenders, they have characteristics that aren't that of objective truth discerners. They hyper focus on one little point at a time and say, aha, so there's something out there you don't know, there you go. When really this whole kind of argument requires an immense amount of detail and full context, and gish galloping is actually, something you need to use here.
But you just said that if we focus on every single detail, we always find out why you're wrong. If you zoom out of
it doesn't. You find out you're wrong. It just casts self-doubt to say, well, you don't know this and you don't know that. It's only after you actually allow the person trying to make a claim or win a debate to use the full context that all of these arguments become much more clear. I can understand why these people still think we live on a spinning ball if they're going to micro focus everything in a vacuum. But the second they start to use their deductive reasoning and use full context, it becomes really clear what's going on here. We're being deceived into servitude.
So what I'm getting from that, first of all, you said that you don't believe that we live on a spinning globe.
Yeah, I've for sure. I put the spin test. I've done at least some experiments myself to at least prove to myself that there's no spin. No such as messing around with a drone. So
the drone thing.
And I understand why if you micro focus on a vacuum, it could prove that we're motionless or that we're everything's at a relative constant velocity. I'm well aware of what that proves, but there's no evidence that there's any kind of motion. So I'm going with the fact that experiment proves one of two things: either we're motionless or everything is at a relative constant velocity. And
that's what we are. We are at a relative constant velocity.
Yeah, that's
on the
what I've been told.
Planet.
That's what I've been told. And the more that I'm finding stuff out on my own, no, we're stationary motionless.
All right. About a week
objectively.
About a week ago, in one of Nathan's chats, you stated that was it Nathan's chat? It might have been in one of Rhetoric's hangouts as well. I don't know in which one of the two it was. You said that the experiments you did with your drone would prove that we are motionless, and you just agreed that they don't. How does that?
I said it could prove we're motionless. If you say that to somebody that's convinced we're spinning when all observations from our reality say that we're motionless, it's not going to convince that tiny fraction of people. But anybody else that would go off of, well, if there must be motion, it must be observed. That's a simple law. If there is motion, it must be observable in this realm, whatever we're in.
Yes,
in this
but
realm,
not,
motion must be observed.
but not with the test that you're proposing. You just agreed that.
No,
Wait.
my test. No, listen. Let me finish. My test would find out if we're moving, or it would be. That's basically what I'm saying. It would either find out that we're moving, or everything is at a constant relative velocity. But now that I'm looking into the claims of the constant motion and velocity, they're all bunk. There is no motion. Earth
All right.
stationary motionless.
You just said that, or you said a minute ago approximately, that you can't prove with your drone, or you can't differentiate between either standing still or being in a constant motion. Don't you see that that excludes your drone experiment from being a valid test to determine that?
Yes, but I'm using full context again. So I'm showing you that I have the intellect to see both sides of the argument, but I'm also showing that I've done enough study to show that there is no motion. The Michelson and if the Earth was spinning, whenever they shot particles against the supposed spin, they would have been a delay against the ones they shot perpendicular. And that delay is never observed.
No, that would only be a thing if there was a universal frame of reference, which there isn't.
Well, no, it actually showed that the light needs something to propagate through. So I think I think there's a big misinterpretation of the Michelson and Morley experiment. I mean, that's clear.
What do you think the misunderstanding is?
The misunderstanding is people constantly say it proves nothing on the motion, and they say that it proves it debunked the ether, when really it showed that light needs a medium to propagate through, and they just call it the ether. I don't know exactly what the ether is, but it's clear there's a luminiferous ether that the light is required to spread through.
And no, it's not clear because, as said, we have no evidence for that. What the Michelson-Morley experiment did for my audience, basically, what the Michelson-Morley experiment did was measure the speed of light in two different directions at the same time to see if the speed of light would be changing or would be different, parallel to Earth's motion in contrast to perpendicular to it. And the result was that there is no difference in speed whatsoever, proving that there's no ether. What you have to go into is that the motion of the planet, for example, proven by the Foucault pendulum and heliocentricity in general, was proven way before that.
I don't see how the Foucault pendant actually proves that we're moving. I see how it can be contrived and deceived into making people think that, but actually that just seems like a simple phenomenon of our simple physics.
Well, the Foucault pendulum. Do you actually know how it's working? Do you know how the Coriolis force is? What the reason for the Coriolis force is?
If you could, I'd like to hear your understanding, because I only know my understanding from university, and it's been years.
So basically, what the Coriolis force is when you're in a rotating reference frame, and you're moving from, let's say, the middle of the rotating reference frame to the outside. In that frame, you will see a force that is directed sideways that will influence your motion. That is not what you get on the stationary non-rotating system.
Okay, I can follow that. My biggest thing was, with the drone thing, is when I was talking to globe people, because when I got into this, I was full deep believing into the globe. They said, well, yeah, the atmosphere is moving the exact same speed as the Earth. So I said, okay, well, it's moving the exact same speed. Clearly, if I want to go the opposite direction of this spin, I'm going to have to require more energy than going with it.
And no, that's not necessary.
True. That is actually necessarily true, because I'm trying to go directly against a relative velocity. So it is true, and for some reason, it's never observed.
No, well, if we are on a rotating reference frame, the internal we have to set the reference frame in such a way that the speed of that reference frame relative to the surface of the planet is 0. Do you agree?
I think the reference frame is the very tool of this deception.
No, that's just yes or no.
Yeah, well, I'm just correcting that. I think the whole way to get people to think that we live on something that we don't is keep bringing up this reference frame and keep deluding people into thinking that their reference frame isn't correct. I think that's a
Well,
simple way of suggestion and brainwashing.
do you actually see that it takes the same amount of energy in the rotating reference frame to move in one direction or the other relative to the surface of the planet?
Yes, but where do I have independent verifiable source that there's two different reference frames that indeed exist in
There
this realm?
isn't. First of all, what do you mean by
So then
realm?
why are you referring to different reference frames if you just said that there isn't any other reference frames?
What I'm saying is that it makes the most sense to define the reference frame in such a way that it's moving with the same speed as the surface of the planet. Therefore, it's stationary relative to the speed of the
So
planet or to the
a
surface.
really good point we got to actually on Reds that I've never heard any people that believe in the globe admit is everybody on Reds rhetoric. You guys actually do have some of the most intelligent panels of people I talk to. You guys actually have really fast working minds, and you do get what you're talking about. I respect that. But you guys actually all admitted that regardless, just assuming our frame of reference is a person standing in this realm, that the world is stationary motionless through all observations, from somebody standing here, it's stationary motionless. And they agreed, because it is. So I want to know why they're going with ideas that are loaded with many more baseless assumptions than the one that is assuming that we're stationary motionless, which flat Earth does.
Can you rephrase the question, because I got a little sidetracked there?
Basically, on Red's channel, he was basically making an appeal why his arguments and ideals are more credible, and he was basically using a theory or an idea that if you go with the idea that has the least amount of assumptions, that's a pretty good objective way to deduce, get closer to the truth. I completely agree. We should always be using the theories with the least amount of assumptions or suggestions. But it's clear, since I had the whole panel on Reds admit from an observer's view living in this realm, it's stationary and motionless. And so I want to know where they got off supporting the theory that had many more baseless assumptions, with adding curvature, spin, motion, rotations, or axes around the sun, all this stuff. They added all this stuff in which there's no kind of evidence for. I just thought that was interesting.
Well, I don't agree that our model has more assumptions than yours. The only thing we pretty much assume is that first of all, we are on a curved surface and it's rotating. That's it.
But why would you assume that when even the globe people admit all frames of reference given from somebody standing in this realm shows that we're stationary motionless? So if it shows that we're stationary
but we
motionless
don't.
and
We
it's
don't.
flat, yeah, no, it does. It does. Trust me, it does. It's flat, stationary, motionless. And this is even something I got Reds to admit, because even if you think it's spinning, the person standing on the ball, because the atmosphere and everything is moving at a constant velocity, they never experience motion or feel it. And I agree with that. I've been on a constant velocity train. I've went through physics courses. I know the whole everything. So what's clear to me is they're going with a theory that has many more assumptions loaded in it that doesn't match an observer's view from this reality of stationary motionless. They're going with something with many more other assumptions that somebody standing here can't verify.
So you think the only assumption that flat earthers or geocentrists in that sense make is that they are motionless, right?
No, well, yeah, they agree that all observations from somebody standing in this realm, is stationary and motionless. I want to know where they get off adding curvature, spin, speed, tilt, all this other stuff that they'll even admit there's no way.
Oh, I think you just cut out. You didn't finish the sentence.
Oh, sorry, I got a phone call. What was that? Where would I leave off?
You were talking about the assumptions that we think we make.
Yeah, so they'll even admit there's no way it's stationary, motionless to an observer in this realm, regardless of which idea you believe. You can't see the spin, you can't see curved oceans, you can't see curved mountains, you can't see any of that stuff.
Actually,
so
you can.
No, you can't. I've been looking into this now. You can't. And
yes, you can. There have
climbed to
been,
the top of
enough.
mountains. When I firmly believed in a globe, I've climbed mountains, 15, 16,000 feet high, stood at the top, and I swore to myself that I saw the curve. Since kind of removing my indoctrinations, I've come back to the same exact mountain, stood at the top, taken digital pictures, put up a freaking straight edge roller, and on the screen did it digitally, and there's no curve. I was literally brainwashing myself to see stuff that wasn't there.
First of all,
that's incredible.
There's two things we have to talk about here. First of all, when you're taking a picture of the horizon from a high mountain, you are not really expected to see the curve from side to side. There's a brilliant video made by Martin81, I think, who is going over the mathematics on how much the curve in a typical picture should actually be visible. It's less than a pixel, so you don't expect that. But the second thing is, did you actually check when you went back on that mountain if the horizon actually dropped relatively to your eye level? Because that is quite easy to observe.
Yeah, and I do notice it does start to drop, but it kind of gets to a point where it seems like the horizon never lowers anymore. And
how do you know that? Did you measure it with any kind of device?
No, it just appears that way. So I've seen things. I make video games, or I used to design levels, amateurly, and I know the only way you could get a video game level to make a horizon that appears to follow your eye, all the way up as far as you can go, is on a level that the computer would be projecting is infinite.
Yes, that is correct, and that's why we can show that it's curved. Because if you rise in altitude over the sea level, or at least over your surrounding area, you will automatically see the horizon drop, and that drop is consistent with our model, with the circumference of the planet of about 40,000 kilometers.
I have just never seen it personally.
Yeah, well, it's as I said, it's quite easy to measure. All you need is a smartphone with a relatively good accelerometer and a theodolite app. It's not hard to do. On a commercial flight, for example, at 10,000 meters or 11,000 meters height, you will see it.
And I'm telling you, I used to think I saw it, and since I've gone with objective eyes, I don't.
Well, by seeing it, I mean not necessarily directly with your eyes, as it's hard to determine it when you have no frame of reference. But if you have a device with you, for example, a smartphone, or even better, a theodolite, it shouldn't be any problem.
Yeah, I just flew to San Francisco. I took images, somewhere give or take at 25, 30,000 feet, and I didn't see any. And I've taken digital, pretty good camera, pretty good megapixels, everything.
Yeah, that's no problem. But did you actually check the height of the horizon?
No, I did not take a theodolite onto the plane with me.
All right. Yeah, maybe you should try that next time. As said, you only need a smartphone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't trust a digital one.
I think there's always some sort of error bar in there, but they constantly actually show that it's quite accurate. So on the horizon, on the ground, you will get 0 degrees of drop, and in 10,000 meters, mathematically, you should get, I think, 3.2 degrees, and you will get around that value. Obviously, you should repeat the measurement various times as often as possible to eliminate or to make the error bar smaller.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a problem though with a lot of curve defenders, is a lot of their instrumentation now is all like theodolites are all digital now. They can't even explain what's going on in those machines. Because I've been on the debate with people that that supposedly know and have used one, and I've surveyed, so I know surveying is based off of level flat plane geometry. We shoot off lasers that are assumed to be 100% straight and never curve, and I've made roads and roadways go on for miles with no real elevation change, all based off the assumption this laser is shooting straight and I can use it on anywhere I go.
Elevation change? You're not really expecting an elevation change if you're staying at the same altitude, are you?
Well, when you're grading, you are, because when you're grading, you're kind of getting into a very rough grade area where it's got a lot of hills, ups and downs, and you're trying to make something very smooth, level, and flat so they can build on it. So the whole entire premise of, grading is based on the fact that we live on a flat level plane and there is no curve. And we use tests every day.
No, I don't think that's the case. I mean,
no, it is the case. I'm an engineer.
You're surely aware that the only way we can actually print the entire continents on one surface without distorting them in any way is by using a globe, right? In any other way of projection of a map, we will get distortions.
Why couldn't you do a 3D flat plane?
Because you would get a distortion.
I don't see where you get distortion. I don't see any curvature either. I see a lot of these things that supposedly have problems that have no backing of evidence.
Well, as said, for example, when you take a look at the standard map that is always shown, right? you will see the polar regions blown up, being too large in contrast to how large they really are. And you will get such problems in any way. In any case that you will project the map of the Earth onto a plane. The only way you can avoid that is by using a globe. Or do you actually think that Greenland is approximately the same size as Africa?
Well, yeah, I mean that's another thing. I mean, even NASA's admitting that kind of all of our land masses we've been kind of deceived in the size on. They're even admitting it now because they're starting to get caught lying too much.
I think this is pretty obvious to anyone who has only basic knowledge of geography. It's not hard to find out if you take a look at the standard map to understand why the polar regions are inflated in size. And I don't think there's any reason to quote admit that it is wrong, because it's obvious that it's
hey, if we live on a ball,
objection.
why is there a scaling issue? No, that doesn't make any sense. If we live on a ball, there should be zero issues scaling continents on a ball. There should be,
what do you mean by scaling?
You're saying that there's going to be an issue with you can't do it. You have to kind of doctor it or whatever.
No, you don't have to doctor it on a globe. You have to doctor it on a flat plane.
I see what you're saying. Actually, I'm at work right now. I got to go, but I'll be back.
All right. He's gone. That was quick. Okay, then I'll just invite some more people. So, Micro, I think you can re-enter if you want. Miles. Sean, do you want to come in? I think you still have the link. Come on, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, the whole scaling on a globe that he's talking about is how you can take pictures of a globe from different distances, and the continents will appear larger compared to the size of the sphere the closer the camera gets to the actual globe.
He's talking about that. Yeah, all right.
That's what he's talking about.
I think he was still talking about how it's difficult to project a map of a globe onto a flat surface.
He keeps on jumping topics. He keeps on not answering your questions. And he also, for some reason, apparently, I'm not sure if he actually actually remembers what we said, or if he just, his brain has just made it up. But we didn't admit to all the things he said we admitted to in that hangout.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to answer some for RCS and 227 in the chat. He has asked if me or Red have ever videotaped a plane flying away to demonstrate angular change in size as an object in the sky goes further away from you. I haven't, but I know that many people on the internet all over the world have, not intentionally looking for that, but they do show it. I'm actually planning on doing that with the drone that I got from Wolfie, just to demonstrate it.
Oh, I just saw that Anthony's in the chat. Anthony, do you want to join?
I'm curious. He wants to see angular size of an aircraft change as it flies away. I work at an airport. I can get that footage quite easily.
Awkward silence.
No, I was reading some trolling by Tim Osman.
I'm just slowly giving up on life.
Is this the guy that claimed to Truth Seeker? And is this the guy that a few months ago claimed to use pretty much what was it, GPS location similar to geodesy for leveling road surfaces?
It appears like he is, but I don't know. I've just come across him like 2 weeks or so ago. I didn't know him beforehand.
He kept referencing a hangout at Reds, and it
Yeah,
sounds
which
like
was-
it was that guy.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I liked how he was trying to throw words in our mouths that were never
Yeah,
said.
we never said that.
So I don't think he still hasn't understand how this exposure stuff works.
I don't think
I
he wants to understand
I
it.
actually think he does, but he doesn't want to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I mean-
moved off of it entirely too quickly.
I mean,
to
just
not
to point out, when you actually called him a flat earther, he got very, very irate about that. And then within 2 minutes, he went to saying the Earth is flat.
Yep, that's correct.
So yes, he is not exactly talking about truth. If he contradicts himself with a lie 2 minutes after he says, I'm not a flat earther, but the Earth is flat.
By the way, there was just some beautiful cherry picking in the live chat by Anthony.
I was going to say, was that Anthony? That
Yes.
seems to be his favorite thing to do.
Is anyone surprised at that?
No,
No,
not a bit.
Not necessarily, no.
What cherry picking did he do?
So you saw that soundly uploaded compilation or time lapse of the bayou, right? Pictures of the bayou.
No,
No.
the one that was actually from the very high elevation, right at the top of the hill, that was showing some serious refraction changing throughout the day. That Anthony's
Yes,
now
that
saying
one.
it proves that refraction doesn't exist because it shows refraction. Way to go, sleeping warrior.
Anthony cherry picked out the one picture out of the like few hundred that show the least amount of curvature, or the least the most amount of refraction, which seems to counter curvature. And now he's saying that that one proves that the Earth is flat, even though 95 or 99% of the other ones don't have that effect.
Well, if he would actually bother to listen to the audio where he talks about where Soundly actually says that the refraction levels settle down after sunset quite a bit, when they actually start running the test after everything gets nice and smooth. Well, I see that Anthony.
You mean after the big fucking ball of heat in this isn't there anymore?
Basically, after the water cools down to about the same temperature as the
Yeah.
air.
Yes.
Because what is the big cause of refraction?
It's probably gonna be the air cooling down to the temperature of the water.
Well, no, it's already like really, really cold there because they just got out of a snowstorm. They're getting really bad cold snap.
Oh,
right
okay.
now. So
Because
the water was
usually air temperature will change faster than water.
right, but the air was already really cold. The water was still above freezing by quite a bit. So they've got hot water underneath cold air, which is going to lead to a serious refraction anyway. That which actually tends to angle things the other way. But once that temperature level settled down, the refraction went to a standard index. And that's when their footage is really going to shine. But Soundly didn't show that footage. He cut it off when refraction got really bad. But I like how he cherry picked, saying this is refraction, but because it's showing refraction is bullshit. And that's just exactly what Anthony just said.
Well,
So-
he also said somewhere, as a response to Paul, why he only picked out that one image. Anthony said,
Because he's a dishonest fuck?
quote, "Don't worry, Paul, I will be showing the 3 best frames I can find later on." So he's
Yeah.
basically admitting that he's cherry picking right there.
Cherry picking. Anthony's forte.
By the way, vote Anthony Riley for Dumbfuck of the Year.
Yes.
Gotta see what the votes look like.
Minus
The
29.
scores can't be negative,
minus 29. I mean, he's
Well,
29 votes behind Tommy.
Oh, okay. What if we combine them into like Tommy Riley or Anthony Hall? Can we make them like one? Like if we somehow found a way to make them breed, could we create some kind of uber retard?
No.
Why can't we just
No.
staple them
No.
together? Wouldn't that be better?
I want to mix.
I'm-
I want to mix their genetic material and then give them a fundamentalist Christian. Give their offspring a fundamentalist Christian upbringing.
All right, for the chat to vote for
Tom,
Anthony, please upvote or downvote the picture, the link that I'm posting in the side chat.
Since Tom is gracious enough to bless us with his presence, can you paste that link I put in the side chat into the public chat so people can go take a look at that comment thread?
Sure.
And witness what a time travel debunk actually looks like. Thank you, Tom, for allowing me to travel through time and debunk you a year and a half ago.
So Multi-Tom is still supposed to come on the chat someday again. Not necessarily in the near future, but as said, Multi-Tom, you're always invited to join. Except for today, because today we're talking about Truth Seeker.
Oh, I'm glad someone got it.
Oh, I have nothing, but you had no reply to actually being shown video evidence that shows that your claim was completely false. And for those that haven't actually seen the thread, Tom says that because the Earth is flat and the sun is, so high above us, that as it's setting, we're seeing the backside of the sun. But he must not have watched my channel too much, because me and Daz, the cameraman, took simultaneous footage, me from Indiana, him from New Zealand, of the sun at the same time while it had a glorious sunspot. We both saw the same sunspot on opposite ends of the Earth at the same time. So we were both seeing the same face of the sun. So a year and a half ago, Tom, I debunked your claim that you made today.
No, Sean. It's just that the front side and the back side of the sun are always look the same. You can't prove that that's not true.
Actually, going by with the flat Earth, I actually used that image or that set of images that me and Dazza took and based my entire flat Earth put to the test video on that sunspot. And from our locations, our longitudes and latitudes, one of us would not have been able to see the sunspot at all because it would have been on the side, not the back.
No, but it looks the same.
You are a flat earther, Tom.
Miles Davis. Yeah, you missed something. Do you want to join? I'll just send you the link.
Miles, you didn't miss everything. He's gonna come back. He just had to go work. Or something.
Maybe he's gonna come back.
Well, he said something like 10 minutes.
Tom, both of my videos had nothing to do with describing what the sun is, just what we observe about the sun directly. So that little non sequitur means nothing.
Oh, and yes, it is a nuclear fission.
And actually, no, Micro, you're wrong. It's fusion.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Then what? Wait. Yeah, he confused me. Fuck you, Tom.
Yeah, fission is the splitting of atoms.
Yeah, I know.
Fusion.
Yeah, I'm tired, and he confused me. Why would you? Wait, does that mean Tom technically said something correct? He did say the sun is not a nuclear fission, but that is technically correct. Well,
Yeah, and even the sun shines on a dog's ass from time to time.
the world has stopped making sense. I'm falling into some kind of hole.
Yeah, fusion reactors we have. It's the cold fusion that is the one that we can't attain yet.
We also technically don't have an actual working fusion reactor yet. We can get them to do stuff, but we can't actually get them to run.
Yeah, we can fuse atoms. We just can't get a sustained fusion reaction.
Yeah, I think the longest we have is like a half an hour or something.
I think it's less.
No, there was something. There was some big news a couple of years ago that they got one to run for half an hour or something. But I mean, they had to continuously pump energy into it. They didn't actually get energy out of it.
Right. It actually had a energy deficit.
Yeah. Would be pretty neat if we can make it work.
Yeah, but I wouldn't bet that we can make it work in the near future. That shit might take some more decades.
Yeah, Tom says that we're funny as shit, but yet he has no comeback to the whole simultaneous observations of the sun.
Well, at least he has good humor.
You know, an ice cream bar does sound pretty tasty right about now.
But no, it's too cold over here.
Ooh, I have ice cream.
And you know what's funny? I have yet to see a flat earther do any experiments like that.
Be right back getting ice cream.
You're welcome, Micro. And Geo, it's below freezing here, and I would still go for ice cream right now.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I only eat ice cream like maybe May to September.
Well, let me put it this way. My thermostat is showing 26 Fahrenheit outside of the car.
How much is that in non-retarded units?
-2 or 3, I believe.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad.
No. But with the wind chill, it's down to about -10 centigrade.
I have ice cream.
Comfy 20 centigrade inside the car.
Okay, this ice cream needs to thaw for a bit before I can actually eat it.
So to bridge the time a little, I already told you that I'm doing another video about Anthony, because he just contradicted himself 2 days ago in a really spectacular manner that not many people saw. So yeah, look forward to that one. It'll probably go live sometime next week.
Also,
I want to know what video it was because I want to see if I can spot it.
It was one of Nathan Oakley's hangouts.
Oh, good lord, he's on there all the time. I'll never find it.
I think it was 62 probably.
Oh, also, Anthony, when you informed Anthony about Tommy Hall and what Tommy Hall believes, Anthony revealed that while he doesn't think cancer is a good thing, he thinks chemotherapy doesn't work.
So Sean, it was Flat Earth Debate 63 on Nathan Oakley's channel.
Okay.
But to know the point in which he contradicted himself, you actually have to know a hangout of mine as well, namely the one with the pyramids, the first one.
Turbo Tim 129 just said Riley summed up the flat earthers for me when they were discussing how far we can see, and he stated his eye traveled to the object to see it, not the light traveling to his eye. I would need to see citation for that.
That sounds
like an Anthony.
Yeah, but I'm not going to take that on face value because it is really out there, and I can't believe Anthony would say something even that stupid.
I mean, even if he said it, he probably just misspoke, or did he confirm that afterwards? That's the question.
Well, you got to remember. You got to remember. Every time Anthony gets debunked, I just misspoke. I meant to say this. So no, I'm no longer buying the. I'm no longer buying the he misspoke excuse. Not from anybody when it comes to Anthony, because, like I said, he gets debunked, and it's always he's either misspoken something or you're misrepresenting me. Those are his two catchphrases. Yeah,
the second one is pretty true. As soon as we quote him, he will say, "No, that's not what I said. Read it again."
And then you read it again, and then it still means the same thing. And then
I mean, for God's sakes, on my video with the corpuscular and anti-corpuscular rays, I was showing his quote to you and had him read it for word, and he said I was misrepresenting what he said.
Yep.
Now, that might probably have been the worst example. Or the best example, depending how you look at it.
Best from our perspective.
I'll slap you, Micro.
Oh shit, I didn't even realize I made that joke. It's completely unintentional.
Oh, Freudian slip for dealing with flat earthers. It's all about perspective.
Well, that's just your perspective.
Hey, leave my curvaison alone.
So, yeah, anyway, that contradiction was, let's just say it's about conductivity.
Oh God, did he say that liquid iron isn't conductive?
Yes. Let
Oh
me
my God.
explain. In one of Nathan Oakley's hangouts, namely Flat Earth Debate 63, Anthony Riley was talking about the conductivity value of molten iron. Now, it turns out that the conductivity of molten iron at a certain temperature, I think it was about 1200 Celsius, or 13. Anyway, just look it up. It was molten anyways. So it's lower than the conductivity as in the solid state.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But so he claimed that since the value decreased, it's no longer conductive. Okay.
Oh my
But
God.
I
in
spotted
one
the
of
contradiction.
in one of my hangouts with him,
Wait, can I see
Which-
can I say it and to see if I was correct?
can you see what?
Can I? Because I think I know what the contradiction is.
All right. Check out Flat Earth Debate 63 and the Pyramid Hangout.
No, I think I know what it is.
Then just type it in the side chat. Not the live one, like the private one.
Okay.
But it's pretty hilarious.
They're talking about Dubai getting removed from YouTube for hate speech.
Oh, he
The
did?
dude-
What happened?
He keeps reposting this video praising Hitler,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
and he's wondering why he got removed for hate speech. The dude was a genocidal maniac, and you're saying that you should be free to praise him and saying that he did nothing but good things. No, he deserved getting kicked off of YouTube for that.
Yes. Does he have a chance to come back on a different channel?
Oh, he's already got his backup channel that he made back in 2014.
Okay. So what does the terms of service of YouTube say regarding that? Are they
Well,
allowed?
You
or are
can't
they-
do that. No, it's
Well,
You can't
Technically, you're
return,
not-
right?
Technically, you're not supposed to have more than one channel anyway. But if they remove you from YouTube, you are banned on all accounts. And if they catch them using a second account, they'll just drop that one too. I mean, you get dropped for hate speech, you're gone. Once they find out who you are, you're done.
Yep, justified.
So yeah, I feel totally justified. It has nothing to do with the flat earth or anything like that. For what he kept on trying to post, he deserved to be kicked off of YouTube. It's not censorship. It was hate speech.
Okay, I posted my what I think is the contradiction is in the side chat.
Yes, that's pretty much his contradiction.
Good.
So let me go back to the first pyramid hangout I had with him in late 2016. He was claiming that the granite that was found inside the pyramid, he also claimed, is conductive enough to be considered as a conductive material. And I showed him the value, which was pretty fucking low. And he said, yeah, but that doesn't matter. As soon as it's a little bit conductive, it is conductive. Well, it turns out that the value for molten iron is
Tiny bit higher.
6 or 7 magnitudes higher. But now he's claiming that molten iron is not conductive, at least not conductive enough to generate the magnetic field. So, yeah, which one is it? Is either his first claim must be wrong or his second one. But if he remains honest, or if he is honest in that particular point,
He can't. No. The answer is no.
yeah, he would have to at least agree that one of its 2 points was factually wrong.
You can't
But
do
we
that.
all know we won't do that.
Yeah, he
No.
cannot be wrong about anything. You're just misrepresenting him.
Yep. So I've got a video about that coming up.
Good.
Yep.
Jeroen, I believe Miles is actually, or was it Miles who was trying to touch on that? Who was trying to get? Oh, that was you, Gio, that was talking about him about the sodium when he thought it was salt.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
Um,
He apparently
whole
doesn't
point-
understand the difference between sodium and sodium salt.
Sodium chloride.
For example, yes.
Well, sodium chloride would be a type of sodium salt.
Yes. So Chris, 1982. Of course you can join. I just don't know where to reach you. I have to give me a second, please.
I am so out of touch with my Roman numeral system. I just realized that.
Oh, I didn't even realize that wasn't Roman numerals.
Jeroen, I've been practicing it because I don't want to offend you by saying it wrong.
So Chris, I can't find your channel on YouTube. Please send me a private YouTube message so I can relay to you the link of this hangout. Okay.
So I feel good about myself because I got somebody's name right, which I've been butchering for months.
No, Gio, you should be able to send him a message on YouTube.
I don't find his channel on YouTube.
Just click when you scroll over one of the chat things, the messages in the chat. That's what they're called. And you see the three little dots. Click on them. There's a button that says "Go to Channel."
Oh, all right.
And then just go to the About section.
I didn't even know that one. Nice, thank you.
I only know it because I'm mod in a few places, and that's the same menu where you do mod stuff.
All right, Chris, you should have just received the hangout invite.
He's going to message me, and then I'll give him the link if that's all right with you.
Yeah, sure, that's cool.
Let me check my private messages. Come on, stop being slow. Messages.
By the way, it seems to be working. Riley is now at -24.
Oh, I can't. What?
I can't crepuscular rays, but I've got a pretty damning video for flat Earth. Oh, here he is. He was actually messaging me on Google Hangouts. I was looking for YouTube private messages.
No way. Are you saying he would use the platform we're currently using to message you?
And I hope that link works for you. It should.
It's Google. You never know.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah, there's still some reliability issues with Google Hangouts, which they, for some reason, can't resolve whatsoever.
Or don't need to resolve.
You mean because we forced to use it anyways?
It's not interfering enough with it that they needed to. Yeah, exactly. We don't.
Hey, Chris, I'm getting some feedback.
Hey,
Please
man.
Oh,
You guys hear me okay?
we can hear
Yeah,
you.
but
fine.
we're also hearing ourselves.
Yes, you still have.
Yeah, I'm going to mute. I'm going to
language
mute. I'm
video.
going to mute. Right. There we go. Thanks, guys.
That's much
There you
better.
go.
Hello.
Hey, man. Thank you. Unfortunately, I missed your Truth Seeker hangout. Unfortunately.
Well, he might be back.
He might return. He said he would be back, but until now, there's no signs of him returning
Oh
whatsoever.
well.
I got a
well.
question, though.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What's the accent?
Oh, it's Scottish, mate. It's Scottish.
All right. Nice.
Glaswegian. Yeah,
like, good
Sean,
accent.
actually, you're the first person on I've only done like maybe this might be my 5th or 6th hangout, and you're the only one that's complimented me on my accent. A couple of people have in the comments, but a lot of people do when I'm playing on Xbox. They seem to really like my accent. And I say to them, really, it's nothing special here, believe me.
Well, there or no, but for other countries, it actually is.
Yeah.
My accent isn't
thank
something
you.
special here either. Like
Yeah, that's the thing about accents.
that's the point of them.
Yeah, I know. It's
Tom Sam says Scots are always drunk. I'd probably say a good majority of them are, but not always.
No, that's not true.
Right,
Only the
but
Scots.
yeah, okay, multi-tom-tom. I am a little bit drunk, right? But the thing is, I'm a bit shy, and the only time I really come on hangouts is when I've had a drink in me. Except for last night when I was, I was pretty much sober, 99% sober. I had one beer, that was it, and Steve's hangout. So
That's basically nothing, considering
Yeah.
that you're in
yeah,
Scotland.
it was one beer with my chips or fries or
That
whatever
is
you
the
guys.
most. That is the most British sentence I've ever heard.
So here's the thing, multi-tom-tom. Not all Scots are drunk. Only the ones that are forced to have contact with you are drunk.
Because they have to be. Because they have to be.
Sly just joined the chat. He wants to know how the discussion of least assumptions went.
Oh, don't
Can
talk
Sly
about that
come
one.
in?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'd love Sly to come in. I phoned Sly. I talked to Sly via Google Hangouts, and I said to him, Sly, you know what? It would have been so easy for me just to burst out in hysterics talking about this flat Earth stuff, because it's just hilarious. I mean, it's insane. And I said to him, you know, it would be so easy for me right now to just burst out in laughter after what you just said in your last video, and it's true.
It pains me to say, but hey, you just said Scotland is my favorite part of the UK.
Oh, well, cool. So, it's got some beautiful country. It really does. As a Glaswegian, I always wondered, since Glasgow's the largest city in the UK, I always wondered why Edinburgh was the capital. And it wasn't until I was about 12 years old, I think, 12, 13 years old. It was my first girlfriend, actually. The two of us went into Edinburgh, and then I knew. As soon as I saw Edinburgh, I knew why it was the capital of Scotland, because it is a beautiful city. It really is.
I don't think that's the reason.
I was going to say, wasn't it the first major metropolitan area in Scotland?
Yeah, I think it's more to do with something like that. You don't generally place capitals based on how pretty the area is.
Yeah,
No, that's what I'm saying. Glasgow's the most populated city in Scotland. It's about 1 mil. I think there's like 5.5 to 6 million people in Scotland, all told. And I think there's about maybe half a million. No, sorry, about 1 million. Probably about 1.2 million these days in Glasgow. I don't know the population of Edinburgh. So Glasgow.
According to Wikipedia, the population of Edinburgh, of the city of Edinburgh, is 493,000.
Nah, yeah, about half of Glasgow, and that is and that's the capital.
What was the population of Edinburgh 700 years ago?
Oh, no idea.
Let's see.
Willing to bet it was a lot more than Glasgow.
That would surprise me if it was more than Glasgow. That would surprise me.
It would not surprise me, because when you look at
you may have a point.
Capitals, they were the population centers at the time the country was established.
Well, Holyrood Palace was the seat of the Scottish king, or queen.
I got the value. So in 1592, that's the earliest value I can find, the population was 8,000. And the next value I got was in 1751, then it was 49,000.
Have you got a comparison for Glasgow?
That's what I'm going to look at next.
Oh, cool.
Because the two factors that went into determining what city was the capital was population and trade centers.
And where the king lived.
Well, the king ended up going to those.
Yeah, but Edinburgh's a great place for shipping and commerce, because the Clyde is called the Clyde and Forth Canal, and the Forth is the Edinburgh side, and that's closer to Western Europe.
All right, I got a value for Glasgow as well.
Right.
So in 1592, again in Edinburgh, we had 8,000. And in
Right.
1600, 8 years later, in Glasgow, we had about 7,000. So in the year 1600, Edinburgh was larger than Glasgow.
Yeah. Oh, really? Right. That's.
Yeah, but the trend then
Oh.
reversed pretty quickly. In
Yeah.
in the 1790s.
I got a question for Tom.
Sure.
Why do you find it necessary to try to find humor in military service? Seriously, I would really like an answer to that.
I mean, so would I, seeing as
Wait,
how
what?
Sean and I.
Well, apparently Tom thinks it's a good idea to start making jokes about people who were in the military.
Okay, that's a bit random.
Well, I'm just watching the chat go by, and he's just making constant jokes about people that have been in the military.
Yeah, because he thinks it's all part of the fucking conspiracy, doesn't he?
I'm not even sure that's what it is. It seems to just. It seems to come pretty much out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did.
It's because he's jealous.
But my conspiracy.
I
He's
think Cal said
jealous
the alpha
we
pretty
did
well
something
nailed it.
he refused to do.
Well, I just love the trend that people who've never been in the military are the first ones to start making jokes about the military.
Aye, that is a strange thing, actually. You ever been in the military, Sean?
Yes,
Oh, aye. Navy. What? Weren't you?
Army.
Army. All right. I thought you were. I thought you were in the Navy. Oh, about something to do with nuclear.
No, that's Steve McRae.
Oh,
Steve-
right.
If McRae was a Navy nuke, I was a Navy avionics technician.
All right, cool. What did you do in the army, Sean?
Satellite intelligence.
Oh, cool. Satellite intelligence. That's why you've got such a fascination with the Himawari 8.
Yes.
Cool.
So,
Right.
so Sean, does that mean you're one of them?
One of
Oh,
them.
aye.
One
Has
of
to be.
them.
One of them. One of them. One
Gobble,
of
us,
us.
gobble,
one of
gobble,
us,
gobble.
one of us, one
We
of us.
accept you. We accept you.
Anyways,
Wow.
I'm gonna head out because I'm already tired as fuck and I have a very long day tomorrow.
All
Right,
right.
Micro.
Hmm?
Your channel's great, man.
Thanks.
I love your channel.
Thank you.
Yeah, for my subscribers, if you have not already, please subscribe to Micro. He's awesome.
Oh, you have
and
to.
Truth
And
Seeker
to Geo.
Well, see ya.
All right, drop it out so you guys can talk.
Geo's channel's great. Jad, I don't know if you have any content. Do you have any content? Oh, is that Mr. Truth?
Truth Seeker's back.
Yeah,
I
he's
have a
not
little
here, yeah.
bit, but
So,
there will be more to come.
Chris, I'm pretty much only doing the Hangouts, but at least in the future, I'm planning to make at least some videos. I've just uploaded 2 regarding the nomination for Anthony Riley as Dumbfuck of the Year.
Yeah.
But if I do one, I don't think it will ever be my main format doing videos. I think I'll probably keep at the Hangouts. Probably.
Well, I think because you get really good people on for the Hangouts, so yeah, I would absolutely, I'd be quite happy with that because I think.
So
I think it's great. Oh,
I now
sorry,
want to
on you go.
continue the discussion with Truth Seeker at least for like
Absolutely,
20
yeah.
more minutes. But I have one final question for you. It's 1982, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's actually my date of birth is actually 1991. However, I don't particularly like giving out my actual birth year on social media, just to keep it a little bit,
All right.
just in case anyone tries to pick up my information, get my date of birth and whatnot. So I just made it 1982.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that my knowledge of
Roman
numerals
numerals,
is still running.
Oh, see when I play Battlefield 4 and on Xbox, people have called me Chris McLixie. I'm like, no, dude, it's Roman numerals. Because they associate the Mick thing with Scotland.
All right. So, yes, said I would like to continue the discussion with truth seekers.
Absolutely.
So,
Cool. I'll mute up.
all right. So, see you, and thanks for joining. So, truth, can you hear me?
Yep, hear you loud and clear.
All right. So, I think I want to keep the discussion running for maybe 20 more minutes or so because it's getting late here as well. And yeah, so maybe 20, maybe maximum 30 more minutes. Okay.
Okay,
If that's fine for you. So, where did we stop the last time you were in here? We were talking about, what was the last point?
Oh God, I don't know. I will admit, I bring a wide context information. I don't like to come in this with a little narrow point. So I don't know. I was probably widely connecting things, to be honest.
Yeah, all right. I mean, you were pretty much changing the topic every few minutes. In the beginning, we were talking about footage that was taken on the moon, and then in the end, we were talking about reference frames and how drone footage apparently doesn't prove that the Earth is not moving.
Oh, that's you just sparked my memory. Yeah, we left off on we were debating which model has more assumptions that don't match and observers.
Yes, I mean the only assumption that we really have is that reality exists. Everything else is then found out using empirical evidence, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And all of reality shows, to people in this reality, not talking about people that have been to space supposedly and all this supposed.
Space is still part of our reality, then, isn't it?
No, I don't know that it is. I know I would say up is part of our reality. What people call the heavens, the night sky. Yeah, of course, it's a part of our reality.
Then it is a part of our reality. You're not leaving our universe in any kind of way when you're going to space, right?
I think presupposing space actually exists is the fallacy.
We don't presuppose that. We have the data that first of all, the atmosphere is getting less dense the higher you go in terms of altitude, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Oh,
but we don't know that there's any space up there. We don't know that there's any kind of void where humans can traverse and move in 4D.
By 4D.
Like I've never self-verified that there's actually people supposedly launching rocket ships in the vacuum of the supposed vacuum of the supposed space.
I mean,
I'm finding more.
Do you agree that you can observe the ISS, for example, with relatively cheap equipment, like in the $500 range?
No, I actually don't, because I've looked at the telescopes, I've seen the object that everyone else is convinced is the ISS, and I don't see any kind of detail that'll for sure show me that is the ISS.
Well,
I see. We agree that we're looking at the same object. You'll call it the ISS. I call it, an unidentified object. I don't know what it is.
I mean, you can directly see the shape of the ISS using, for example, the P900 or cheap telescopes. Do you agree that's the thing?
I've seen the images of the supposed ISS using the P900. I don't see where they're getting enough resolution and clarity and focus to claim that is for sure the ISS.
Well, if I remember correctly, the shape, the size in pixels that you actually get for the ISS using the P900 is about 15 to 16 pixels across. In that kind of magnitude, you can actually make out the shape, right?
And I think I'm well aware of the images and the size references you're referring to, and I don't have any verifiable way to prove that's the ISS. But I agree, there's an object. There appears to be an object that people can point to with predictability. I agree with that.
All right, and do you also agree that it's exactly where it's predicted to be?
Yeah, but that's easily so let's just look at this from the devil's advocate. If I'm pretending to be somebody, I could just say an object that's already up there is the ISS, match it to it, and say, hey, look, I'm predicting where it is. I mean, just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I mean, but you can observe it. You can observe it from various positions simultaneously and triangulate the position, right?
Again, so I'm not denying that there's a phenomenon that I've actually have observed it. I've been up camping in the wilderness, and you can see it with a nice telescope on a nice clear night. I actually have done this.
Actually, shortly after sundown, you can see it with your naked eye. I mean, you won't get the resolution, obviously, but
I agree. Yeah, you'll see it moving. Yeah, you'll see it moving.
All right. But if you can observe it from various positions on the surface of the planet, doesn't that automatically mean that what you're seeing has the claimed position in a 3D space. For example,
Yes,
the orbital data.
It means we're all agreeing we're looking at the same phenomenon in the sky. It's just we're not all interpreting it the same. So I don't
No,
see any-
no, that's not what I'm talking about. When we all agree that the object is where it's predicted to be, right? We can determine the position not only in terms of where it is relative to someone, but in the 3D space, where it is in 3D space. And from that, we can derive orbital data. And that matches up with the predictions.
What's to stop somebody predicting with just gathering an object that makes a regular orbit around our sky from just getting the predictive patterns down with that and saying, okay, well, look, that's the ISS now. See, I don't what you're not understanding my contention is there's no self-verifiable way to prove that is the ISS.
We can prove that it's in the orbit that fits with the ISS, and we can prove
But
that it
how,
has.
again,
But please let me finish my point first. We can prove that it's in the predicted orbit where we would assume the ISS to be, and we can show that it has the predicted shape of the ISS. We can show, for example, when you have a little bit bigger or better telescope, that or when the Soyuz capsules are attached to it, you can see that directly. Everything we have in terms of data that is taken from the ground regarding the ISS matches the predictions based on the orbital data and of the physical physical properties of the ISS itself. So
and that all assumes that there is an ISS floating up in
No, that's not true. That's the conclusion.
Well then, okay, so that's your conclusion. Now I
want to know that is the conclusion.
Okay, that is your conclusion. That's not the conclusion.
No.
I want to know what firsthand self-verifiable way have you verified this information yourself?
Trigonometry, basically.
So you're using trigonometry to go off of physical observations.
Yeah, I mean, if we have two observers on the ground and we know the distance, looking at the ISS simultaneously, we can determine the position of the ISS in 3D space. If we now do that various times in a row, we can derive the orbit from it. And when we compare that to the actual the given orbit of the ISS, we will see that they match up.
But what self-verifiable way have you first-handed proved to yourself that it is the ISS?
I myself?
Yes.
I've seen the ISS with the naked eye, and it fit the predictions where it was thought to be.
How did you confirm the object? Because I see the object too, and I'm convinced it's not the ISS.
You mean if I have taken a look through it through a telescope or what?
Yeah, I've even scoped, and I've seen things that they apparently look like they could be, some solar panel rays or some solar, function to a craft. But I don't have any verifiable ways to prove that it isn't craft up there.
I mean, if you had better equipment, you might actually trace radio traffic from it. Do you agree that that's at least a possibility?
I agree it's a possibility, yeah, of course. And that's what I went with the majority of my life. The issue is we're finding out that a lot of the information that I was schooled as fact is actually a secondhand, baseless, when you actually start getting into it, they're baseless claims because you can't verify them for yourself.
Name one.
The moon. The moon's a physical object.
Yeah, it is.
We can land on it. We can go up through space.
Why?
When you go look up amateur rocket, and I know since I've got into this, I've met and discussed with one online. Amateur rocketeers, they're attaching cameras on some of their high altitude rockets. They're not even hitting something. They're just stopping up there.
All right. First of all, you said that you don't think the moon is a physical object. Did I get that correctly?
No, I didn't say that. I just don't think that.
Yes. Yeah, you said. You don't agree that the moon is a physical object.
It has the features of a holographic phenomenon. Yeah, it does.
Then why can we bounce lasers off of it?
I don't know. Maybe really good holographic projections can be reflectors. I don't know.
And no, I mean, if we point a laser at any other direction in the sky, we won't get a reflection. We just will get it when we point it at the moon. And it also fits the predictions.
Okay.
The amount of photons that we receive. The amounts of photons that we receive from the reflectors on the surface of the moon fit the predictions.
I've never pointed a laser at the moon, so I guess I'd have to do that myself.
You would need better equipment because you're just gonna get a handful of photons back. You won't be able to see that with your naked eye. You need an name for that.
Well, it seems to be that the moon clearly isn't, because I've been listening to the discussion of people measuring angular size of the moon, and they're speechless when you mention, well, hey, the moon changes its apparent size every 27, 28 days for, a supermoon.
Actually, first of all, actually, it changes its angular size constantly because the orbit, as said, is elliptical. So when you measure it two times in a row, 20 minutes.
You didn't let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So this is even something the globe people will admit, is it looks to get 10-15% larger these days to your eyeballs, but when you actually look at it on a camera and you say you took a picture of it every single day, it doesn't change at all.
Yeah, that's not correct.
So
I can show you a video of it right now.
No, I'm not saying you can't capture video of the supermoon, but I'm saying
no. I'm going to show you a time lapse.
Okay, I'll show it. I'll show it. Here,
take over a month. That will show the angular size difference. Okay.
Yeah, is it on your screen?
Not yet. Give me a second.
Okay.
I just want to find the source for it. Oh. Well, I'm currently just finding an animation of it. I don't know where the video is that I was.
That's fine.
I would just send you the level, but you can see it with the camera. Just take a camera and go take the best zoom lens that you have, okay?
Okay.
And zoom all the way in, okay?
Okay.
And then take a photo of it and repeat that every day. And then compare the sizes. You will see a 10% difference.
Okay. Yeah, and I've only looked at secondhand sources, so I'm not claiming. I'm bringing this up for literally both of us to discuss. Is I've seen data sets that show, even though it looks like it's changing to your eyes, it's not changing to the camera. So that's just something I haven't had time to take a 20 30-day lapse in the same spot, the same place. Do it the right way. I haven't had time.
So you said that you think the moon is a holographic projection, right?
It seems to be based upon the observer. Yeah, it seems to have a lot of qualities. It can be multiple places for multiple people.
What do you mean by you think it's at multiple places for multiple people? How can you prove that? You muted yourself, I think.
No, I'm not muted.
By the way, just going back to your last point, yeah, you are muted. It says that you're muted. Hello? If you're definitely still muted, and I cannot unmute you. You have to do that yourself. So what I'm gonna do now is I'll share my screen so that the audience can see that he's muted.
Yeah, I'm still here, man. I'm still here.
I know that you are. But you can't hear him as well. It's not my issue, is it?
No, I can't hear him either.
Okay. So I'll just give him like 5 minutes or so to resolve the issue.
Thanks for letting me join, Gio, by the way. That was good. Did you catch Steve McRae's hangout last night? We were talking about... Oh, you were there about the Anthony Riley's Foucault pendulum?
Anthony Riley's Foucault pendulum?
Were you not there when I talked about it with Steve? No.
I don't think I was, no.
So I said to Steve about with Anthony, I said to him, well, basically, Geo had his friend on Hector.
Oh,
I don't know.
wait, just
Oh,
small
okay.
interruption. I got a message from Truth Seeker via Google
Oh, cool.
Hangouts. Quote, my mic was muted, but it wasn't muted in my end. No, it won't let me rejoin. It should be let you rejoin.
I'm on now.
Ah, you're back.
Now it is.
Oh, he's back.
It's a
Right,
different
okay.
hangout.
Right. I'll let you guys take it away
It
then.
isn't a different hangout. It was literally the same one. I didn't change anything.
Well, on mine, it won't let me rejoin that one. Now there's a new chat window up, and it's letting me join this one. So
Okay, that might just be a bug. Just close the old one and stay here.
We'll finish this Foucault thing, or you guys just want to go at it again?
Yeah, sure, we're gonna do that. The problem is just that the location we thought we had is not available.
All right.
And I haven't spoken to Hector in like a month or two, so yeah, we have to get that rolling as soon as possible.
Cool.
Maybe even in the next like 4 or 5 weeks, because part of the university will be closed at least for the lectures over the Christmas holidays.
Right.
So we might have a time then. So
yeah, I said to Steve, right? Well, Geo was holding a hangout, and his friend Hector. You guys know each other in real life, I take it.
Yes, we went to the same high school.
Yeah, I thought that, and I said, yeah, I think they know each other in real life. That's the impression. Anyway, so Anthony Riley was saying that at the end of the swing of the pendulum, that his contention is that that's effectively in equilibrium. And he says, well, no, that's not right. I says, yeah, I know it's not right. But what he thinks a Foucault pendulum at rest is effectively the same as a Foucault pendulum at the extreme, as he would say, the extremity of its swing. When it's just about, just for a moment, he said, and then I was about to swing back, and I was thinking when I was watching it, well, it's got potential energy, kinetic energy for a start, and Steve basically said the same thing, said this as far as equilibrium as you could possibly get regarding the swing of the Foucault pendulum, So
yeah, I mean, Anthony has some weird misconceptions about basic physics. He doesn't understand the difference between acceleration and velocity.
No.
Doesn't understand the difference between momentum and velocity, and a bunch of other ones. If for the chat, if you want to check that out, there's a video on my channel called Foucault's Pendulum with Red's Rhetoric, Anthony Riley, and Hector. I think.
Yeah, that's the one I watched. Yeah, I remember that. I said to you in a live chat. I says, oh, gee, I was just watching the Foucault pendulum with Anthony, and you said, oh, poor you. He said something like, poor you, Chris.
All right.
It was staggering. Right.
Truth, we still can't hear you. You're muted again. I don't know what's the problem on your side, but it doesn't make sense to continue this if you don't get your stuff to work.
But no,
he's unmuted. There he goes.
Yeah, you unmuted yourself again. Okay. So
yeah, I've been talking the whole time. I said it was working.
Okay. By the way, what's your local time right now?
North America.
Which one? There's like 4 or 5 time zones.
Yeah, West Coast.
West Coast. Okay, that's minus 8 UTC, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds about right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's about 2 p.m.
Yep.
For you? All right. So let's just go on for, let's say, until 2:30 your time. That's 13 more minutes.
Okay.
So what we were talking about last. The interruptions really annoy me.
I would just say.
Yeah. There were two things.
Here to be the viewer's location.
Yes. How do you know that's the case? But by the way, before we start this,
that's the case. But the more I've been the moon and the sun, I'm starting to drift away from relativity and particle theories, and closer towards something electromagnetic, something, something more holographic and electromagnetic in nature.
And so how have you personally observed this? Because about 5 minutes ago, you demanded that I would have to show you personal evidence of me observing the ISS. But you said yourself about 1 or 2 minutes later that all the sources you had were secondhand. So there's a little bit of
I know.
dishonesty or at least hypocrisy in there.
That's going to happen because we kind of had our whole knowledge and history deceived from us. So we all know the ancient libraries that were full of truth and objective knowledge. They're hidden from us. We're under a huge awakening where we're finding out the whole structures that we thought were enlightened are actually darkened. They're not systems of enlightenment. They were systems of, servitude and slavery.
How does that answer my question?
Well, that answers your question why we have to gish gallop and why we have to, kind of use some things and hold you to a higher standard on other things. Because we're finding out a lot of our information is lies.
Gish galloping was not my question. Again, you demanded from me that I would have to find personal evidence.
You have an issue with an issue with different levels of proof, for me to you, and that's fine. I'm not here trying to convince you or change your mind of anything.
No. That's not my point. I just said you're applying 2 different standards of truth for yourself.
Yes, and I am. I'm admitting
that you can use. You're admitting that you're dishonest or at least hypocritical in the levels of evidence you're using.
There needs to be a different standard. Like right now, we're just trying to figure out what we've been lied to about. So the stuff that we are really got a strong hunch that we've been lied to, yeah, we're going to hold you to the highest extremes because it's finding out there's no firsthand way to verify these claims. So yeah, we're going to hold you to this high standards because if you're claiming that it's been this way for 400, 500 years, which we're starting to find out that doesn't look like that was the case either, we're finding out a lot of our history and knowledge has been purposely deceived from us. So yeah, that's why I don't make claims that I say, oh, it's flat or oh, it's holographic or oh, it's this. We don't know. And I'm gonna have much less higher standards for this information that seems to be much more objective than the people telling me we live on a spinning ball of rock and limited space and limited resources and limited this. So I just can stay here and work for other people.
So you admit that it's fine for you to use secondhand evidence for your side, and for me it's not okay to use the same.
Assuming that we're coming out of a century-old deceptive.
No, not assuming evidence.
But we do need to assume.
Stop. No, we don't. This is just a question of.
No, we need to assume things.
How direct must
you want me to actually give you my real response and my real opinion? Yeah, we need to assume some things, and I'm assuming that a majority of the knowledge I learned in university was given to me for a particular reason so that I'd live a life of servitude. And now I'm starting to uncover that, and I'm not too happy about it. And I don't want to serve people anymore. I want to serve myself. That's why I'm here.
I have to go back to the standards of evidence. Let's just assume nothing, okay?
No, but we need to assume things, or else there'd be no discussion.
For the sake of argument, let's assume nothing. We don't know anything. Are the standards of evidence for you the same as the standards of evidence for you? For me?
Yes. Now we're playing at a level field because we're assuming that there
because I'm not assuming anything.
Exactly. So yeah, they're equal.
All right. So how are you then allowed to use secondhand evidence while I'm not?
Okay, because we're finding out that entire institutions have been created out of thin air for this deception, for the sole purpose of deceiving us from truth.
But doesn't that then mean that you yourself should also not rely on any sources outside of yourself?
And yeah, and I'm not. I haven't.
Yes, you are. If you're saying you are using secondhand evidence, you are relying on outside sources.
I'm not relying. I might be utilizing. I'm not relying on it.
Yes, you're utilizing. Therefore, you're using them, which you don't allow.
I'm utilizing it. I'm utilizing it to get my own idea, my own thoughts, my own independent conjecture. So yeah, no, I'm not relying on it, but it'd be idiotic not to use what's already there. Come on.
Yeah, therefore I can use secondhand evidence as well. You just said it would be a waste, so it would be useful or useless to not use evidence that is already there. So why can't I use secondhand evidence?
You can, but we're finding out that the whole evidence that's defending a curved spherical Earth is a deceptive lie to keep us staying in these little Hollywood movie sets of little towns and cities and governments so that we never leave and start doing our own thing. It's clear as day.
No, it isn't. Because
Yeah, no, it is.
every single piece of quote unquote evidence that either flat earthers or space deniers or conspiracy theorists bring up is either based on complete falsehoods or on fallacies.
And I'll let you think that to your I'll let you think that until your grave. That's fine. But we're kind of leaving you guys in the dust. We're having different conversations.
In what way? You guys have not done any work regarding anything that is useful in the real world.
Because the institutions will not fund this work. This work will make all of the prisons, schools, hospitals, judges, and everything empty. Because this is all an illusion. We need. There's more land out there. There's more land out there.
Did you just say hospitals, or what did you say would be empty if you guys had the funding?
All public, everything would be empty. We'd stop.
How?
You guys are worried because we are living a life to servitude right now. We're being conned
No,
by
that's not my
gangs
question.
called governments into servitude, and the globe deception is part of that servitude.
How would you getting funding in any way empty hospitals or schools or anything? How what knowledge
if
would
I were to go to an institution and say, hey, will you fund this project that'll delegitimize your entire basis of existing? Nobody's going to do that.
How
would
it
Have you ever heard of
delegitimize?
conflicts of interest?
What would you find out that would lead as a result that those institutions were closed?
Because it would show their indoctrination. It would show that they're not teaching.
You're not answering anything. What I'm asking from you is, what kind of facts would you think you would find out if you had enough money to fund or to research quote unquote anything?
Likely, we live in an infinite realm.
What has that to do with anything? How does an infinite realm lead to closed prisons?
Well,
what's the connection between living in an?
What is a typical? I'll tell you what. What's a typical week in your life like? How many hours a week do you work?
Today I'm not working because my institute is moving.
Of course,
but currently the average value of work for a chemist like me is about 40 hours per week.
Okay, and do you feel satisfied at the end of the day? Do you really
it's
feel like
fine.
You're working towards yourself? You ever met the owner of your corporation?
It's not a corporation; it's a university.
Yeah, it's a corporation. I guarantee.
No, it's not university is not a corporation. University is in my country.
Okay, well, I forgot. You're not in America. Okay, I forgot. Yeah, everything's a corporation over here. Sorry, I'm getting my maritime laws confused.
So, do I feel satisfied in the work that I do? Yes, for two reasons. First of all, I'm directly working, albeit a small part, a part of developing new medication for malaria. That's what I did.
Okay.
So I'm actually doing a small part in at least making humanity a little bit better. So yeah.
What's your?
I feel satisfied in my work.
What's your opinion on natural medicines?
You mean like name an example?
Natural herbs, medicinal plants, any kind of stuff that's been used for millennia.
Are they shown to yield results that are higher than the placebo effect?
Yes, obviously.
I don't think so.
Okay. So you never looked up like any of the CB1, CB2 receptors, shrinking tumor cells?
I'm sorry, but medicine is not my field of view. I'm a chemist. Not my field of view. Sorry, not my work.
So
I'm a chemist.
You could see though why somebody with your kind of background and payroll history wouldn't be into funding something that doesn't have a patent behind it. Could you at least concede that you could see a conflict of interest between a pharmaceutical corporation and something that can't be patented?
Not necessarily, because let's just say you find. No, stop. Let me make my point. Again, not necessarily, because, for example, let's just say you have a quote-unquote natural medicine product, something you can grow on trees and use directly, and it yields.
How about ginger?
Oh, fuck's sake! Just let me make my point. Let's just say anything, right? And it's proven to have at least somewhat healing effect. You get a positive result that is higher than the placebo effect. Well, now think about a medication that treats the same disease, but first of all, much more effectively, and you don't have to ingest all the side products that are also in the natural product? Which one would you take? So the question is, do you take the pure medication?
Me personally, depends on the situation. I have grown a great distrust of Western medicine.
Why?
A huge distrust. There's a huge conflict of interest for profits.
No, not over here.
$50 bill, this little green piece of paper somehow has the ability to compromise people's morals.
First of all, money over here is not green. Second of all,
okay, again, you get the metaphor.
Yes, I get the metaphor. But I don't think you understand.
Do you understand what metaphors are?
Yes,
but you take things extremely too literal. You're way too left-minded. You're way too left-brain thinking.
Please let me make my point. What you don't seem to understand is that the problem with pharmaceutical corporations seems to be massively exaggerated only in the United States. Here in Europe, we have mechanisms that protect the customers from actually paying too high bills for the medication that they need. I think the best system that is on the planet is in the United Kingdom, where most medication costs less than £10. That's not something you can find in America, and I think that's.
I'm actually glad, because I don't want the whole population over here on crumbling addictive medicines that I wouldn't even call them medicines; they're poisons.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
No, just look at for real. I mean, we're having an objective conversation. You can't even have a pharmaceutical nowadays with the side effects are more than the freaking symptoms that you're treating. I mean, it's literally absurd.
That's not correct. First of all, it's hard to determine the side effects. And if you actually look at it,
exactly,
look at the procedures.
They're trying to play God.
Please.
They're trying to play God with a petri dish.
You interrupted me again. You interrupted me again.
You interrupted me constantly. You're not even allowing me to make.
No, that's not correct. Again.
It is correct.
Again. If you actually take a look at the procedures it takes for a medication to be approved, you will find out that they are only approved if the positive benefits massively outweigh the negative ones.
Well, I can only go off the FDA since I'm in America, and clearly, no, the FDA kind of does whatever the F it wants. It makes natural plants illegal, and it constantly makes dangerous pharmaceuticals legal because they have a patent behind it, and it's protecting their friends.
Yeah, as I said, in the United States, that's a massive problem with it because the pharmaceutical corporations aren't, in my opinion, regulated enough. But that is not the case over here. They literally work with as little profits as possible. Do you understand that?
So, what country are you in? So I can get this.
Don't you hear that from my accent?
No, you cut out. What country are you in?
I was just asking if you couldn't hear that from my accent.
No, I can't.
All right. I'm from Germany.
I'm a wage slave. I don't have the freedom to travel the world. I have to work 60 hours a week to make some guy I've never met rich.
I'm from Germany.
System. Oh, it sounds like Germany has a much higher quality of standard of living.
Compared to the United States, well, it depends. I think the average income is a little lower, but basically everything else in the sense of life expectancy is higher, obesity rates are lower, the amount of people who don't know how to read and write is lower.
That sounds better to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So the issue over here is we're basically under a huge awakening right now. Like I said, we're finding out all of the stuff we thought we were enlightened with was actually darkening our minds and our ideas.
I mean, you came up with a topic of pharmaceutical corporations. Now you're going back.
I wanted to get a feel for your bias, and that you actually demonstrated it pretty clearly there. So that was good for me.
Okay. By the way, I can hear myself through your speakers. You might want to turn me a little bit down. And I think you're muted again.
No, well, I just did that because I was turning the volume down.
Okay. So it's now 2:30 your time.
That was my fault, Gio.
No, it's fine. There's no problem with it. Okay. I would really like to continue this discussion another time. Is that possible for you?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, my schedule changes daily. I don't really have a routine, so there's no way to plan it for sure. But just try to accommodate tomorrow, and you'll be probably spot on.
Okay. Yeah, I'd actually prefer if you were sitting in front of a computer because then I could directly show you my sources. with the smartphone, this is always
Okay.
kind of annoying. So I would like to schedule it for one day where you're probably at home at some point.
Yeah, just message me on, the Google Hangouts. We'll chat there, obviously.
Sure.
We'll get something.
Okay.
Are you leaving now, Truth Seeker?
What's
Yeah,
that?
it's because I'm limiting, Chris. I'm limiting the time for this hangout. I want to be in my bed in at least 30
I
minutes.
see.
So
Right,
I'll
right,
just
right.
invite the other guys for a little bit of feedback on how I did.
It was just to see if Truth Seeker wanted to, because I did 2 years of pharmacology at uni, see if we wanted to know anything about it. Because he was talking about cannabinoid receptors.
Yeah, the CB1. Yeah, it seems to just be a field that kind of is purposely left in the dark. The endogenous cannabinoid system.
Right.
It's almost as large as the central nervous system, and it gets no medical attention.
What do you mean it's almost as large? It's no more larger than any other receptors.
Have you ever seen like a cutout or a diagram of the central nervous system and how it extends to every inch of your body, more or less?
I've obviously seen the nervous system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The central nervous system is connected through basically all tissue and organs of your body, and so is the endogenous cannabinoid system.
The endogenous cannabinoids are released via the cannabinoid receptors through the synapses, which are microscopic. You can't actually, it's a neurotransmitter. You can't actually measure neurotransmitters in the blood. So the cannabinoid receptors are no bigger or smaller than any other receptor site.
I'm not saying they are. The issue is every single one of your vital organs has a CB1 and CB2 receptor. CB1 and CB2 are vital. CB1 and CB2 are vital in the recycling of cells. And
I know that the intestine certainly has many receptor sites, opioid receptor sites.
Guys,
let me finish.
Sorry, but I really need to interrupt you for some reason, because first of all, this is not my field whatsoever, and this is not what this hangout was about. And second of all,
fair enough.
Yeah, I want to keep this timing down. So one thing, Truth, that I would recommend you to do if you were talking about biology, set up a hangout, or at least try to talk to Microorganism, because he's literally a biologist. Okay, because that is not my field whatsoever, and I don't feel comfortable talking about it, because I simply don't know about it much to be able to talk about it confidently.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I'll now open the hangout for everybody else. Truth, do you want to stay for maybe 10 more minutes or 20, or do you want to leave?
I kind of got to leave, but if anybody actually has anything good to add, I'll stay. I'll stay.
Yeah, okay, I'll just add the people.
Yeah, please do stay. Please do stay, Truth.
Okay, so Micro, and who else do we have? We had Sean.
Steve's in the hangout, by the way, if maybe, I don't know if he's inclined. He's here. I don't know if he's inclined to join or not. But
all right, I'll just post the link into the side chat. So hurry up for everybody who wants to join.
Yeah, just on the cannabinoid thing, Truth. Why would you say that? Would you say that they are the most ubiquitous receptor sites throughout the body, or what was your point on that?
My point was CB1 and CB2 receptors have been directly linked to the recycling of recycling damaged old cells into healthy new ones, and then finding cells that may have had some sort of abnormalities and recycling those into healthy new cells.
I don't see how a neurotransmitter could possibly do that, but I'll certainly look into it.
Just let me finish. I get that you want to cast out, and that's totally cool. But what people are finding out is that a majority of Western illnesses that don't have any kind of cure, and scientists are constantly left puzzled on what the root cause is, they're being treated with cannabinoids. Yeah, well,
cannabinoid, there are many different cannabinoid receptors. There's CB1, CB2, 3, 4 that I know of, but I know there's subreceptors as well. But I don't think they're any more prevalent in, say, the opioid receptors, which are found in the gut, particularly found in the gut. That's why you can get something like loperamide if you've got the gym jams, you know, something like that. I'm sure there are some cannabinoid receptors in there, but generally it's a cannabinoid, like THC, for example, is a cannabinoid antagonist rather than an agonist.
Hello, everybody. Hey,
Hello.
Sean.
I got a couple things to say real quick. And I'm actually intentionally trying to derail this because you guys are talking about stuff that I have no knowledge of. So, like Geo, I'm not going to try to claim
Absolutely, no, it's cool, Sean. I'll drop it entirely.
But from what I was getting from the general discussion of it, are you guys talking about cannabis receptors?
Cannabis, yes. Effectively, yes.
Can I throw something in here before you guys continue? What in the hell do the nervous system and CB1s and CB2s have anything to do with the shape of the planet?
Fucking point, Sly.
It shows
very
the
good
conflict
point.
of interest of the funded corporations and why they're hiding certain.
Right.
I think I have a better hypothesis on what cannabis receptors have to do with the shape of the Earth. Because if you smoke enough, it's going to look like whatever you want it to be.
I wanted to make the exact same point.
I know if you avoid enough of it, you'll start believing anything that any charlatan says to you.
Oh my god.
So what's funnier, the guy that can think for himself and actually find healthy medicine?
This is why, you know, this is why so many people are against.
I have to mute.
Any kind of baseless information.
Truth. I worked in a research group that had £500,000 funding to work on cannabinoid receptors in
Miles, he just did a mic drop. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I think my hypothesis stands.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
much more valid than his hypothesis.
Hell. Oh my god.
I derailed him as I planned. So, guys, I gotta go to bed. See y'all later.
See you, Sly. Thanks for coming on.
Sly. Oh, geez, Sean, do you have me in fits?
You're welcome. I love being me.
Sorry, I was really. I'll get control. I'll compose myself. Okay. Right. Oh.
I'll just say that I love being me.
I need to. I'll compose myself. Oh wow!
Well, I would not have gone that route, but he totally derailed the entire shape of the Earth topic to go talking about pot. Oh my god!
Yeah, and also Chris.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, mate. Yeah,
Mute,
midnight.
Please mute.
Okay, I'm mute. I'm composed. I'm cool. On you go.
All right.
Okay. Wait, whose server am I on? Server. Whose channel am I on?
Mine.
Geocentrism.
Mine. Okay. Did you guys happen to catch when he said those who don't smoke it or eat or he was trying to say something that if you don't smoke weed, you easily believe
Everything that the establishment tells you, basically.
Oh my god! I just.
So pot makes you Neo. It frees your mind, I guess. I don't know.
Don't set me off again, Sean, please.
I'm sorry, but no.
No, it was very funny. That was very funny.
Yeah, I don't like that guy.
No, I don't like him either.
Well,
I mean, he talked to in some way.
Didn't he
claim
claim
lost all credibility? He lost all credibility when he came in. Geo called him a flat earther by accident, and he got all defensive about it. And then within 2 minutes, he was talking about the Earth being flat.
Well, doesn't he claim to be an engineer and a geologist, for fuck's sake?
Yeah,
a geologist, a surveyor,
computer developer, computer game developer,
video game developer.
I call bullshit on that. I was watching that stream, both streams, because Red combined them into one, and I was like,
He says he's been to university. The only university he's been to is YouTube University because he only flat earthers.
I agree.
He knows nothing about cannabinoids, that's for sure, or biology.
It's a shame that Micro is already gone to bed, because I would love him to be in here right now.
No, because I didn't complete my degree, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, I did, and spent 35 years working in biomedical research,
I
including
actually
working in a project that had €500,000 from European Union to fund cannabinoid research in bone.
I actually have to agree with Steve. I have to agree with Steve McRae on this guy. He is an ultimate Poe.
Yeah.
You think? Oh, you know what? You're right, because that occurred to me the first time I think he joined Red's hangout, Red and yourself, Sean.
I don't think, Sean, that he's a Poe. I think in this case the correct terminology is pothead.
Well, yeah.
Cannabinoid,
cannabinoid
cranium.
I figure since he's lacking the brain cells, or at least the comprehensive ability to actually say the whole words, I just cut it short and say Poe. P-O.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. All right. Does somebody else want to add anything, or because otherwise I'd be wrapping it up for today?
I just been notified that because of my joke, Chris's laugh outbreak totally foiled Truth's closing comments. He just replied it, and all you could hear was Chris's belly laugh.
Oh god, that was funny.
So audience, you're welcome.
That's fine with me, Chris. That's no problem.
I hope my laugh's not too annoying.
All right. So thank you everybody for joining and for watching. It was fun, I guess.
I missed
most of it, but the bit I caught was fun-ish.
Okay.
Funny is the proper word.
So, and if you have not done so already, please consider subscribing to this channel.
Oh, definitely
watching my other videos if you really want to see some idiocy. Not from my side.
Gio's got a great
highly
channel.
recommend anything with Anthony Riley in the title.
Oh yeah.
Gio's got a great channel. Midnight's got I don't know if Midnight's got a good channel. Sean's got a great channel. I recommend you subscribe to them all. They come up with some really good live chats on almost a weekly basis, twice a week even.
I got one more point. Yes. I got one more point because of something that Truth Seeker said. That he needs funding to be able to prove that the Earth isn't a globe.
Oh yeah.
Oh no! Wow! Okay. Don't they all, Sean? Don't they all?
But here's the thing.
Funding.
Here's the thing. With household items, I built a scale model of the flat Earth, as they propose, in my backyard, and shown that it does not match reality.
Of course it doesn't.
Make a video of that. And the thing is, if
it's not a video.
Right, they would get all the funding that possible, out there thrown at them if they had any evidence at all.
I'll make it simple, because if you type in this in the search window in YouTube, it will be the only video that shows up. Flat Earth, put to the test.
Miles,
just type that in the search window. It will put that video.
Do you have a channel, Miles? Oh, you obviously have a channel.
Yeah.
Do you have content?
Mine's pretty rubbish, but by comparison,
I'll certainly have a look at it. Because I said in the chat the first time I saw you was on that fucking maniac who he really rubs me up the wrong way, Dale. Beyond the Insane Asylum, he rubs him up the wrong way because he's got a Glaswegian accent like myself, and he's about 20 miles away from me, and he has this accent that is what we call in the UK or common as muck, right? It's a common accent, it's a common way of talking, the guy's like, and he does this angry Scotsman routine that his viewers just love.
Well, Chris, here's what you do. You go to his channel, you get into one of his hangouts, and then you smack him upside the imaginary brain.
He won't join anyway. He needs people to join his hangouts so he can be in control, so he could do what he did to Miles. I'll fucking mute you, you wee prick, and all that. It's things like that. He was saying to you, Miles.
All right, guys.
It was a disgrace.
Stop. I really need to wrap this up for today because it's getting late.
All right, Gio.
Again, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for the audience for watching and maybe subscribing and maybe the other shit that I'm doing. See you next week when I will have a hangout with part-time vegan. So
cool.
Bye.
Thank you